Next speaker that we are going to be talking about is your surround left and right speakers, which is actually 100% different than your regular left and right speakers. What we did with the left, right and center speaker was point their speakers directly to your ear level, and that is exactly what you are not going to do with the surround speakers. You have to ideally keep them at 2 to 3 feet above your hearing level. Why is that? Is because these are surround speakers. Any sound coming from them should fill the room rather than be a directional sound. So you should not be able to really pinpoint where it is. You can place it on your left or back left and back right, ideally, so that you do not really pinpoint where they are coming from. So for most of the home theaters, you can either find 4 tall boy speakers, or you can find 2 tall boys for front speakers and 2 satellite speakers, which is actually kind of best. So what I bought was 4 tall boy speakers, but I removed the stand from underneath, and I am using these speakers as satellite speakers by placing them up so that the sound quality is perfect and I have more room space underneath also. Last but not the least, the subwoofer, the point 1 in your system. It produces the lowest frequencies, that is your explosions, vibrations, volcano eruptions, things like that, which creates the real atmosphere or bass of your movie or even your music. So, but the problem with the subwoofer is that it is both the easiest as well as the hardest speaker to position in your room, because it is a non-directional one. That's why the easiest thing that the manuals recommend is that you can place this one anywhere in your room without any consideration and it will work fine. Generally that works, but if you are going to be a perfectionist, then that will not help you, and you need to know what is the sweet spot in your room that creates the perfect vibrations which reaches equally to your ear on your seating location. So there are 2 methods to do this right, but because it is based on room to room, so you have to experiment with it to get it just right. The first method is what normally everyone would do is that one person will sit on the chair they want to listen from, and then the other person just moves it around while listening to some pink noise or even with a heavy bass track. It works best with a music track rather than a movie. So play any heavy bass music and just ask your friend to move this around. But that is not a very practical manner to listen to the unmuddled sound while someone moves this around along with the cable, because normally your cable length would not be that much long for the subwoofer. So what the other option is that you can do a subwoofer crawl. Now this method is really nothing different, but it's just changing your position with the speaker location. So what you're going to do is, rather than you being sitting on the chair, you're going to place your speaker on the seating position. Ideally, you can use a tall table so that the subwoofer is exactly at your ear level, but if you don't have a tall table, even your existing sofa or seating position would do better than nothing. So you have switched the location places with subwoofer from the user. Now play your subwoofer in this location, your heavy bass track, and then you yourself go to that location where you are going to place your subwoofer. For example, if I'm going to place my subwoofer here, so I will go here to the same level where my subwoofer is going to be, and I listen to that sound. And then I can crawl around to different various locations in the room to check where the best sound experience I can get from the subwoofer. Ideally, I would check all such corners or even the center space where the sound is not muddled and really the bass guitar is hearing out like a bass guitar. That's why I said the music tracks work best for this kind of experiment. So choose a heavy bass track and listen to the bass guitar. That's the best kind of experience that you can find your ideal sweet spot. So when you are moving around, actually what you are doing is, rather than moving your subwoofer, you are moving yourself. The distance between the two things is the same. So it's going to be the same experience when you switch the user and the subwoofer. All the waves are physical waves. So it's the same thing even if you switch locations. So once you find a sweet spot, for example, somewhere in the center, or as Dolby recommends that one of the ideal locations is right where you are sitting. So for me, I place it in the center of my two sitting positions. What it creates is that it rebounds all the vibration and it creates a nearly perfect experience. But for your room, you have to really check as per your room design and as per the limitations of your room, because not for everyone the locations or these setups are ideal. So you have to make compromises based on your furniture, your space in the room, and then find at least the better spot for your speaker rather than just placing it randomly anywhere. Okay, so that's about it. That's all of our tips for the speakers. You heard about left, right, center, surround, and the subwoofer, how to ideally place all of these speakers. Of course, you can go through the manual to find out some of the recommended locations or recommended distances by your manufacturer of the speaker, because even the distance of these speakers matter, so that the waves don't cancel each other. And some of the speaker systems even come with an inbuilt software-based distance calculator or distance setup, so that you can ideally set it up so that the waves are delayed per speaker basis, so that all the sounds reach exactly at the time to your ears when it's supposed to reach. So even that equal distance matters for these speakers to get the best experience rather than creating more and more echoes. So that's it for this week. Hopefully this guide gave you some of the additional tips that you never found in your normal manuals. If you liked it, just give us a thumbs up, leave a comment. Take care. Allah Hafiz. See you next week. Assalamu alaikum.